What's going on, everybody? It's your boy JP. Got another hot one for y'all here today. This is the Motorola Edge. That's right. It's slated to... Let's see. Let me get my timelines right here. it was due to ship to people who pre-ordered by August 4th, if I'm not mistaken. Which is this coming Tuesday. Today is Sunday, the 2nd. I actually got mine on Friday. Already, I've had a couple days with it, and man, I have to say, I am really impressed with this phone. Seriously, y'all, seriously. Let me get down to the box contents here right quick. You got your usual booklets there. Your SIM ejector tool's in there somewhere. Got your turbo power charger and your USB Type-C cable. Protective case. It's a gel case, kind of a smoky color, not completely clear, just a smoky clear, I guess would say. Your box. And let's see here. Yeah. Nothing special. Front of the phone. Obviously, it gets its name from the Edge screen. Get to that in a second. Here's the back here. Definitely a fingerprint magnet if you couldn't already tell. Got some lint from the carpet there, but there's your 4 camera lenses there. It does include a 64 megapixel camera. And there's that color there. I think it's called I don't remember exactly what it's called here. Solar Black. Solar Black. And unlike the Edge Plus, the Edge does come unlocked here in the US with 5G compatibility for T-Mobile, AT&T, and of course Sprint being on T-Mobile's network. Again, as I've said in a previous video, if and when Verizon ever decides to launch a sub-6 low-band 5G network, whenever that may be, this phone may or may not be compatible with that, but that's, probably a couple years from now. They're focused on millimeter wave, so you really have to kind of get a device from them to use their 5G. I mean, I know there's a couple of exceptions to that, but nonetheless, it is compatible with Verizon, but on LTE. So just keep that in mind. And but it has a lot of frequencies. It has all of your LTE frequencies, and from what I can tell, all of the sub-6 frequencies for 5G. But the only... I did see band 66. I didn't see 71, but it may still be compatible with that. Again, as I've also said in another video, they don't always list 71 for some reason. It has to... For some reason, these devices have to have certification from T-Mobile sometimes to even list band 71, but that doesn't mean they don't have band 71. But you really don't know until somebody tests it. And I'm not able to myself. So just take that with a grain of salt. I know people are going to say, well, UmiDigi lists it. Well, UmiDigi is one of those foreign brands. There's really not a way for T-Mobile necessarily to penalize them, so to speak. Whereas a more known U.S. brand like Motorola here, they just they obviously are going to abide by T-Mobile's wishes, so to speak. But nonetheless, let's get right to the device here. It has 6 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of internal storage, which is really good. It does have expandable memory. Again, OnePlus Nord, expandable memory. It also has a headphone jack, speaker. There's your USB Type-C. It's actually, it is stereo speakers, because you got the other one right here at the top. And let's see here. You got your SIM tray and your micro SD slot. It's only a single SIM, not dual. You do have your power button and your volume rocker here. No wireless charging on this one like the Edge Plus has. This does have the Snapdragon 765 instead of the 865. And the killer part about this phone is the price. Right now, it's at Motorola, Best Buy, and Amazon. I think Best Buy. It may not. I know it's Amazon, B&H, and Motorola, maybe Best Buy for $500. I'm gonna tell you, you cannot beat that. You cannot beat that. Now the regular price is supposed to be $700. I'd be a little iffy there. $600. I could actually have seen myself paying $600 for this, honestly. But hey, $500 is even better. But this phone is definitely worth $600 if that's what if it went back up to that. I wouldn't say 7, but definitely 6. Definitely 6. I have enjoyed this phone way more than the Galaxy A71 5G and even more than the LG Velvet. I would recommend the Velvet over this if you got a good deal on the dual screen. But the thing of it is, the Velvet itself is already $100 more. The dual screen from AT&T for the Velvet is $200, so that's $300 more for that experience. Of course, not everybody has to have the dual screen. Therefore, I would go with this instead. It has a 21:9 aspect ratio like the Velvet. It does have a curved screen. So, but the aspect ratio alone, as I talked about in the Moto G 5G Plus video I did before this, I absolutely love that 21:9 aspect ratio. The phone feels so amazing in the hands, and while I'm at it, the build quality on this phone is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. They say that the back on this is plastic, not glass, and I watched a video where it creaked on somebody. They had a pre-release version, and they were like, kind of like, it was making like a typical plastic thumping sound, but I don't get that on here at all. I mean, it feels and sounds like glass to me, but again, I'm not the professional on that. I do know that the front is Gorilla Glass 5, if I'm not mistaken. You do have your single cutout there for your camera lens there. And this phone, I absolutely love the squared off design. I love that squared off design. This phone really, that was the thing I liked most about the A71 5G from Samsung, was that squared off design. A design that people stopped doing years ago that I prefer over the rounded edges. The Velvet obviously had curved edges, and it was rounded more so than squared like the A71 5G. This phone kind of incorporates both of those build qualities that I like from those two devices and puts it in one. It's squared off, and it has that 21:9, that aspect ratio that I'm just absolutely in love with right now. And of course, the edge is subjective. I'm not a fan of the edge. I never was. A lot of companies are starting to back off from it, like Samsung, and they were the original creators of it. So they're showing that it's okay to back off from it. But what makes the edge on this phone unique is it's not the same edge like what your Samsung Galaxy S Note / whatever edge phones had. Just like it's not the same edge that LG uses, which, and theirs was the same as Samsung. Before Huawei came out with the Mate 30 last year, before that, their curved edge was just like any kind of Samsung. When Huawei came out with the Mate 30 Pro, they introduced what was called a waterfall display, and you've heard me talk about that before. There's a difference between a waterfall display and an edge display. Waterfall displays completely wrap around at an almost 90-degree slope or angle, however you want to say it. Correct me if I'm saying that wrong, but the Mate 30 Pro was the first to introduce the curved edge at a 90-degree angle. And yes, for those wondering, even though I never did a video on the Mate 30 Pro, I actually did have one for a couple of days. But it wasn't for review, it was from a trade, and I didn't end up doing a video because by the time I got it, there was tons of videos out on it. But so I did have some hands-on with it, and there is there's a big difference between these and what your typical other phones coming out from Xiaomi that came out with their own edge phones like Samsung, and of course they're now doing the waterfall thing as well. I think the Mi Mix 4 that's supposed to come out, or the Mi Mix 5G that's rumored. It's supposed to have a waterfall display. I think the Oppo Find X2 has it, if I'm not mistaken. But your Samsung devices, they never had an edge that sloped this far back. It was never 90 degrees like this is. And that's what they mean by waterfall. Now I'm not entirely sure. Well, actually, I do know how it is on the Edge Plus because I've seen enough videos to know actually it is just like this. But the Huawei Mate 30 Pro actually went all the way down the side to where the volume rocker was virtualized within the edge of the screen. It wasn't a physical volume rocker. Motorola still managed to incorporate physical buttons here, including the volume rocker, despite having that extreme 90-degree angle. Now, how is this waterfall, this even sharper, this more aggressive edge, is it more useful than Samsung's interpretation that they did years ago that they're even backing away from, because they're finding that it's really not that useful. It's really for aesthetics. It just looks very futuristic, but it really doesn't serve a huge purpose. They tried at first with the whole news ticker thing, and then some phones, when you lay them face down, they'll act as like a notification light that you can see really, really nicely in a dark room when it's face down again. But of course, I never leave my phone face down anyways. So what other uses would there be, especially for a phone with an aggressive edge that that takes Samsung's doing to a whole nother level, something that Samsung has never even actually done? Well, it's funny that you asked that, because one feature that Motorola added to this phone that I really like is when you're in games that are in landscape, they actually virtualize shoulder buttons like a gaming phone. But it's okay, you got some gaming phones that have physical shoulder buttons, and then you have other gaming phones that have capacitive shoulder buttons. Like, they're there, but they don't actually press up or down. They're capacitive, kind of like what Apple did to the home button on the iPhone 7 and after, until they actually did away with the home button altogether. Of course, they did just come out with the SE2, which brought it back. But you get where I'm going at with that. They made it a capacitive button instead of a physical button. And that's what a lot of your gaming phones are doing right now. They went to adding actual triggers on the side of the phone to adding capacitive triggers. Well, to take advantage of the edge, Motorola added virtualized triggers. That to me is awesome. That to me has to be the killer feat if you're a gamer. Obviously, they're not advertising this as a gaming phone per se, which is evident by the processor choice, because they didn't even go with the Snapdragon 765G. This phone just has the regular standard Snapdragon 765 with the, of course, with the Adreno 620, but it's not the G variant. And most 765 Snapdragon devices I've reviewed were the G variant. But I'm going to tell you something here. If you take all of my Snapdragon 765 and 765G devices that I have reviewed on my channel, this, despite not being the G, is the fastest, is the smoothest. This phone is lightning fast. The battery is amazing. I read a review on one of the major Android news sites. I can't remember which one, but somebody said that when using this phone, the Snapdragon 765 literally just feels like an underclocked 865. And you know what? I couldn't agree with that more. This phone is blazing fast. Everything works flawlessly on it. It charges fast. It's only 18 watt. It could have been faster, but it does work. It has a huge 4,500 milliamp battery, so faster charging would have definitely benefited charging that larger battery up quicker. But the 765, you couldn't tell me that this wasn't the 765G if I didn't already read the literature that said it was just the 765. I'd actually realized that when I was reading comments in a forum where people were complaining that it only had the 765 and not the 765G. And I'm going to tell you, from having numerous phones with the G variant, you are not going to notice a difference. This is by far the fastest one I've had. And this isn't, and again, it's not even the G. And this phone is lightning fast. I have been very impressed with this phone. I can't stress that enough. I I mean, like I said, it's absolutely beautiful. I love the squared off design. I could put this on a desk and stand it up, which I've seen on a lot of reviews already. It literally takes the box shape of the that I like so much of the A70 15G with the 21:9 aspect from the Velvet, puts it on one device here. It has stockish Android. It doesn't have the LG UI or Samsung's One UI. It's Motorola's. They call it. They actually give it a name now. It's called the My UI, not to be confused with Mi UI from Xiaomi. But it's still stockish Android with Motorola's usual customizations. Let me see if I can go into the GeForce Now here and show you what I mean by the triggers here right quick. I'm just gonna select something random, and see, notice that I'm gonna get into Guilty Gear from with the GeForce Now. I just started that membership there, but you see how you have these shoulder buttons right here? How freaking cool is that? And they work very well, like very well. I mean, that dude, that couldn't have been a better. Because I am a mobile gamer. I don't have time to sit at home and play the console, so I do rely on mobile gaming. Man, I couldn't think of a better way to utilize that edge than that. And what's cool, too, is that Motorola also has it to where you can turn the edge completely off, and it just leaves you with a flat screen. And the waterfall, I'm not going to lie, I'm not a fan of curved screens, but this waterfall is absolutely gorgeous. It is. And I like how Motorola was able to still do it with physical buttons, because it goes down the same degree as the Huawei, but it just doesn't go all the way down the body of the phone like the Huawei does. So you can still have physical volume rockers and power button, etc. But despite that, this phone is ultra thin. I mean, it's a lot thinner than it looks on this camera here. Believe me. You do get a protective case there. That's right. I already went over that protective case, and it's a little thin because it leaves the edge of the screen open. I actually would rather leave the edge of the screen off unless I'm gaming to take advantage of those triggers, and find a case that actually protects it all the way around, because that case doesn't really fit it very snug like I would like. But it's wonderful, honestly. You're not going to be disappointed with the performance whatsoever. $500, the Nord, the OnePlus Nord has a smaller screen, same AMOLED, same resolution, same 90 hertz refresh rate. Again, this has that too, which just helps even more so with the gaming, as does those triggers I just showed you. So, I mean, this is like low-key a gaming phone. If they had added the Snapdragon 765G, I love Motorola's little game time features that they've added to the Moto Actions. But and of course you get the always on display, of course, or the Moto screen there, whatever you want to call it there. But you have your in display fingerprint sensor. I watched a video where they said that where someone said that it was the worst in display fingerprint sensor they ever used when they were reviewing this phone. They had to have had a pre-production model, because I have had no problems whatsoever with this fingerprint sensor. It's definitely been one of the fastest in-glass fingerprint sensors I've used. It does have facial recognition, which I did not set up yet. But the Nord, when converted into USD, it comes up to $480. Now, I did see some sellers on eBay sell it with a mid-August release for $440 or $430, I think was the cheapest I saw. And that is for 12 gigs of RAM, granted. So that's, or was it? Or might have been 8. That might have been 8. But still, better than the 6 gigs of RAM that this has, no doubt. But you're getting a much smaller screen. It's only a 6.44. Maybe closer to a 6.5. 90 hertz, of course, AMOLED. But this has a 90 hertz AMOLED. 1080 plus resolution, of course. And it has... It's a much larger 6.7 inch, so you're also getting a bigger battery. You're getting almost the same stockish Android. Motorola's My UI is very similar to Oxygen OS. They're both very stock, very clean interpretations of Android. This is not the Edge Plus exclusive from Verizon, so you're not going to get all of that bloat that people were complaining about the Edge Plus having. That was a Verizon thing, obviously, and not a Motorola thing. But this does come unlocked. There's no bloat on it. Again, 256 gigs of storage is very, very ample. You do have expandable memory, which a lot of people know is important to me. The Nord does not have that, nor does the Nord have that much storage unless you pay more for it. To get 256 gigs, I think you have to end up spending more than 500 or maybe right at 500. This is just a compelling offer, honestly. You do get the 760. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, in the Nord, I think you get the 765 in that as well and not the G. But someone correct me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure you don't get the 765G and it's just the 765 in the Nord. Basically what this phone has. You're not going to be disappointed in this phone. Now, I would absolutely pick this up over the Nord. I mean, again, the Nord is not officially sold here anyways. You got to import it. So you're always going to have those things that may or may not work with your carrier. And this phone is straight from the US, and it works phenomenal. I mean, I've been very impressed with this phone. It has been a dream. The cameras work very, very decently. They're nowhere near on par with the Edge Plus, of course, which has a 108 megapixel like the S20 Ultra has. But you already know that going in, buying this. From what I've seen, the Nord's cameras aren't any better. The Velvet camera, they're not on par. A71 5G, I haven't really watched anybody else's reviews specifically on the camera, but my own little camera testing was average, nothing special. I mean, it wasn't bad, though, for those picking that phone up. But, yeah, this phone is phenomenal. It's, it has that aggressive edge like the Huawei Mate 30 Pro. The performance is not going to leave you wanting more. Blazing fast. Battery life has been amazing. It's weird because it has the same processor and same size battery as the Moto G 5G Plus that I reviewed, but the battery life is way better on this. For some reason, I don't know if I have a defective unit, but my Moto G 5G Plus drains entirely too fast. Now, it is an LCD on the Moto G5, not this phone, but on that other phone, it was an LCD. And with Moto display, of course, it's going to drain it faster than it does with an AMOLED panel like this phone. I'm sure that has something to do with it. But I did turn it off to see if it helped, and it didn't help by much. I just get extreme battery drain on that other phone for some reason, and it charges so slowly. Same size battery, same wattage for fast charge, but this charges faster too, I've noticed, and it lasts a lot longer. So I personally think I have a defective unit. I am in the process of sending that back, honestly. Other than that, though, I was impressed with that phone for the price. It was phenomenal. I wasn't even going to get this phone because I was pretty gung-ho on the Moto G 5G Plus when I was able to get my hands on it. But when this came out at only $500 and you get the AMOLED screen, I couldn't pass that up. 2 more gigs of RAM. My Moto G5G actually was a 64 gig variant. Someone corrected me in the comments because it had 4 gigs of RAM and it was 64 internal. This has 256 internal. So, I mean, again, this phone is a steal at $500. It's $100 less than the Velvet, the A71 5G. It's $20 more than the Nord based on USD conversion. But you're getting a lot more than the Nord, I feel, besides the RAM department. The Nord is going to smash this in the RAM department. That's it. And probably also the update department. Despite this having stock Android, it's still up to Motorola to keep this updated. And they have gotten pretty good, but they still only guarantee one major upgrade. And of course, the Nord, you're going to get a couple at least. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope I didn't miss anything. Really wanted to talk about this device. This is really unexpected. I did not plan to get this until I saw the killer price. Got it Friday. Wanted to bring it to you guys. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I do highly recommend this phone. This phone cannot be beat at $500, guys. Seriously. I mean, this is a huge contender right here. I mean, why spend $1,000 for a flagship when you got this for half that? This phone's amazing, y'all. Anyways, hit me up in the comments. Peace.